to you. He gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you. He gon' give it to you.
Good morning, everyone. JT here, and here are my takeaways from today's UWM Sales Hub. If you remember, and if you've been watching the previous JT's takeaways, you've noticed that I've condensed these takeaways. So these are my top 3 takeaways from today's UWM Sales Hub. And here's the quote of the day. Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. Let me repeat this again. Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow that you want. That is the quote of the day. Hope you found it of value. Number 1, comfortable. Have you gotten too comfortable with your relationships? And here's what I mean by that, okay? You call your business relationship and you're like, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? How you been? Blah, blah. And by the way, do you got any leads for me? That right there is the epitome of getting comfortable, way too comfortable with your referral partners. Why? Because at that point, you're no longer calling them to bring value to them, okay? You see, when you've got a business person like yourself and you've got a business person like myself, okay? Let's just say these two persons are going to be calling that same referral source. You've got this person calling, asking for something. You've got me calling to bring them something of value. Who do you think, number 1, will stand out? Who do you think then, number 2, that referral partner would feel more inclined to working with them or even referring them business? Okay, so think about that. Have you gotten too comfortable with your referral source? Have you gotten too comfortable with those that are referring you business? And if so, know that 2 things are going to happen. Number 1, they're going to dump you. Number 2, they're going to use you, okay? And here's what I mean by that. A perfect example, okay? You're a loan officer, your referral partner is a real estate agent, and you call this referral partner, this real estate agent, for some time. They don't give you leads, okay? But they have you host their open house with them. And guess what you do on top of that? You put up their open house signs. And guess what else you do? You take their open house signs off. And yet, no leads, no business. Now, they've got somebody else they're working with, okay? Another loan officer that they're referring all of their business to. And you ask yourself, why are they not giving me any business? I put up their signs, I take their signs off. And it's 110, 150 degree weather in California. That right there is because you are not bringing them value. Sorry to break it to you, Charlie, but that is the truth of the matter. So the question for you is, are you getting too comfortable with your referral partners? Number 2, Anthony Frederick is SVP over at UWM, had another executive visit him from out of state and shadow him for a couple of hours. That gentleman that was shadowing him for a couple of hours was simply just shadowing him, right? Taking notes, observing him, listening to conversations. And through those 2 hours that he was shadowing him, he picked up on one thing. He was having a conversation with someone else where that conversation said a little bit something like he was trying to get tickets for a Cinderella show, I believe, okay? Called everywhere, went everywhere, and couldn't find any. That person that was shadowing him was overhearing everything and taking notes. That gentleman that then went back home was asking himself, how can I thank Anthony for allowing me to shadow him? So guess what this gentleman did? This gentleman came back home. He did the research of where he can buy these Cinderella tickets, okay? He found a place. Guess what? He bought 3, sent them over to Anthony, all right? And Anthony was surprised. Number 1, because the gentleman that was shadowing him sent him 3 tickets for a Cinderella show. That Anthony was looking everywhere for these shows and he couldn't find the tickets to the show. That is right there the definition of being intentional, the definition of being in the zone, the definition of being grateful, more so the definition of being unreasonable with you giving back. That right there is the definition of being unforgettable. Okay, now, do you think that when this gentleman calls Anthony Frederick and asks him if he can shadow him again, do you think that Anthony's going to say yes or no? Like, not only was this guy unforgettable, not only did this guy prove to Anthony that the 2 hours that he invested in, or the 2 hours that he allowed him to shadow him, he was paying attention. Do you think he's going to allow him to come back? Of course he is. So when you are talking to your referral partners, or when you are talking to your client, are you paying attention that they've got 2 dogs? Are you paying attention that they've got 3 kids? And are you being unforgettable? Ask yourself that question. Number 3, market opportunity. Granted, rates are higher than what they used to be. I get that. On top of that, there's not a whole lot of inventory. And on top of that, we are now seeing multiple offers on the inventory that is out there. Believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, there is a shortage of homes. Yes, shortage of homes. Here's what I mean by that, okay? There are more of us than there is homes that need to be occupied or purchased by us. But here's what I mean that there is a market opportunity. Debt has increased and values have also increased. Now, how can one get out of a situation where you're living paycheck to paycheck? Well, hey, look, you're house rich. That does you no good. And you can actually get rid of your debt by doing a combination of a couple of things. Number one, you can get a home equity line of credit. Number two, you can actually cash out from your property. In this case, if you already have a first at whatever the rate is, you might be able to combine the first along with a second at a slightly higher rate, depending upon what ultimately your goal is. It's all in a case by case. The thing is that you've got to work with someone from Goto Mortgage Solution that has the possibility of custom tailoring your mortgage. Whereas opposed to if you go to a different place or you go to a bank, right, you don't have any options. So there is an opportunity right now to help those that have accumulated debt. And the truth of the matter is that that happens to all of us. What happens to all of us happens to all of us. How we react to what happens to all of us is what determines our outcome. So let me go back, takeaway number 3. Big market opportunity for those that have a lot of equity and that have acquired some debt through the years. You can refinance, cash out, you can get a second loan, you can get a home equity line of credit. So with that being said, understand that there is a market opportunity out there. You just have to go out there, look for it, and be the solution to the case that is out there. That is my third takeaway from today's UWM Sales Huddle. Guys, I'm not sure if you noticed that I kind of changed the layout. I hope that you enjoy it. I actually would like to hear, do you like it? Yes. Or do you like it? No. Or, you don't care for it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make a difference, right? And you still find the takeaways of value. So guys, again, my goal is that while I invest this 1 hour watching these takeaways from UWM, that you find them of value. That if you can take one thing away, you can apply it in your day, week, month, quarter, and maybe even carry it out to your day. That's well worth my investment. All right. So if you found this value, go out there, dong that bell, subscribe, so that you're notified every single time we upload a video. Like it, share this with anybody you know. Thanks. Let's go out there. Let's have a great day. Let's dominate.